What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another top 10 list. Happy International Women's Day, everybody, and to celebrate that holiday, and with the release of Captain Marvel, the newest MCU film and the first female-led superhero film for the MCU, I'm going to be giving you guys my top 10 favorite badass female characters in movies. There's so many badass, awesome female characters in movies today, and I wanted to make it into a top 10 list and challenge myself. So, let me know your guys' top 10 favorite badass females in movies, and let's talk about it down below in the comment section. As always, this list is completely subjective. These are my personal favorites, so if your favorite doesn't make the list, that's completely fine. Let me know down below. Maybe I forgot it. As always, guys, before I get to the top 10 list, let me share you my honorable mentions. And they are Mulan from Mulan. The Wasp, aka Hope Van Dyne from Ant-Man and the Wasp in the first Ant-Man. Trinity from the Matrix trilogy. Hit Girl from the Kick-Ass movies. Scarlet Witch from the MCU. Gamora from the MCU. Catwoman, Anne Hathaway's Catwoman from The Dark Knight Rises. Alita from Alita Battle Angel. Storm from the original X-Men trilogy, Halle Berry's Storm. Eowyn from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Laurie Strode from the Halloween franchise. And Nancy Thompson from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. All badass women, just couldn't make the top 10 list. Now let's get to my number 10. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Rey from the new Star Wars trilogy, played by Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley is fantastic as Rey. Such an awesome new character introduced in the Star Wars universe. When I saw Force Awakens, I absolutely loved it, mainly because of the new list of A-list Star Wars characters, including Rey. Rey was one of the reasons why that film was so good. Daisy Ridley is badass in that film. She was awesome, such a compelling character. You wanted to learn so much more about her. She was awesome in the action sequences, and you wanted to learn the answer if she did have parents. And that leads to The Last Jedi, where a lot of people were disappointed because, spoiler alert, Rey doesn't have any parents. Her parents abandoned her for drinking money, and so now she's grown up as this very conflicted character, and many people complain that she's a Mary Sue. She's too awesome in the action. She really has no downfalls, no weaknesses. Well, you see that in The Last Jedi. You know, she had to deal with a lot. She does have weaknesses, obviously. Did you see her scene with Snoke? She trains as a Jedi with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, and now with Kylo Ren, that back and forth between them, this like and hate relationship. I'm looking forward to episode 9, mainly because of Daisy Ridley as Rey. She is awesome as this character. Coming in at number 9 is an underrated badass female character, and that's going to be Peggy Carter from Captain America the First Avenger, played by Hayley Atwell. Captain America the First Avenger is one of the more underrated MCU movies, and Peggy Carter is such a badass. She's awesome in this role. Once you get introduced to her character with all the soldiers lining up, and she's like step foot soldier, then she punches him in the face, and then she starts to have a connection with Steve Rogers. They just have a fantastic relationship. I love the romance in First Avenger, and her character's badass. She gets involved in the action sequences. She knows how to shoot a gun. My favorite scene by far is when she's shooting at the car. Awesome, awesome. I love Peggy Carter. She makes the top 10. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road, played by Charlize Theron. What a day. What a lovely day. Mad Max Fury Road is one of my favorite action films of the decade, right behind Mission Impossible Fallout. And one of the reasons is because of Furiosa. Charlize Theron was amazing in this film. She should have got nominated for Best Actress, in my opinion. Furiosa is such an interesting, layered character that she just wanted to return back to her village and save these broken women who are slaves to Immortan Joe and his thugs. They start chasing after them in this big, long car chase in the desert, and then she meets Max, played by Tom Hardy. You could make an argument and say this really isn't Max's movie, it's more Furiosa. So they call it Mad Max Fury Road, it should be called Mad Furiosa Fury Road. But still, Furiosa is an awesome character. I love Charlize Theron. She's so beautiful. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Laura slash X-23, played by Dafne Keen in Logan. Logan was one of my favorite films of 2017, and Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, this was the last time that they were playing Wolverine and Professor X, and we saw a child actor in the lead cast. That's Dafne Keen, and she had a tough task competing in this film and competing with Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. And she was amazing, just as good as both of them. And she was badass in the action sequences. Once we see her get in the action, she's slicing dudes' throats up, and she's just like a young Wolverine. It's so awesome. Once you finally find out the backstory, like, that is actually Wolverine's daughter, it's so compelling. And then the ending of this movie had me bawling my eyes out because she's given such a great performance. She's crying her eyes out because her daddy died right in front of her to sacrifice himself for her. It's such a powerful ending. Logan is one of the best comic book films ever, and it's so good. Dafne Keen, awesome as X-23. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Princess Leia from the original Star Wars trilogy, played by Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. You are totally missed. Princess Leia, I mean, you gotta put Princess Leia in your top 10. Like, this is an iconic character. Carrie Fisher was awesome in the original trilogy. Once we finally get introduced to her in the first Star Wars film, A New Hope, she gets captured by the Empire. She's talking with Darth Vader, the scariest movie villain ever. And she gets locked up by the Empire. She escapes. Luke saves her. And then she meets Han Solo, played by Harrison Ford. And they have a long-lasting relationship. The original trilogy works so much because of the 3 main actors, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford. Like, they're uncastable. They're perfect in their roles. Princess Leia doesn't rely on a man to complete the action sequences for her. She knows how to fight for herself. I love when she breaks out of Jabba the Hutt and then she kills him by putting the chains over him and choking him. Awesome scene. Princess Leia is amazing. You gotta put her in her list, and she's making the list. Alright, top 5. Coming in at number 5 is Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter franchise, played by Emma Watson. Hermione Granger, awesome character. I love the Harry Potter franchise, top 5 movie franchises. Like, she knows what she's doing. And once we get introduced to Hermione Granger in the first Harry Potter film, Sorcerer's Stone, you find out everything about her in those first couple movies. She gets called a mudblood by Draco Malfoy. Her parents are not wizards, and she's had to learn how to be a wizard. And she's a very smart character. She knows how to get out of dangerous situations, and she saves her friends a lot of the time. Emma Watson was perfectly cast as Hermione Granger. She is beautiful, and she is badass, and she's very compelling of a character that she has to be on a top 10 list. Coming in at number 4 is Wonder Woman, played by Gal Gadot in the DCEU. Wonder Woman was such a total surprise for the DCEU. What a really awesome World War film and a comic book film. Gal Gadot, a lot of people were scared about the casting of Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot was only mainly known in the Fast and Furious franchise. Models going into acting is not a good idea, but this was the perfect casting possible. Gal Gadot is amazing as Wonder Woman. She is badass. She is drop dead gorgeous. Please marry me. I'm just kidding. In that first film, you learn everything about Diana Prince, and you really care about her. Once she wants to fend for herself in Themyscira and prove that she could be a goddess. Then she meets Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine. Their romance is awesome. And you want to see Wonder Woman save the day and take down Ares, played by David Thewlis. And it's just awesome. Wonder Woman is badass. She is beating up men left to right in this World War I. It is awesome. Top 3. Coming in at number 3 is Sarah Connor from the Terminator franchise, played by Linda Hamilton. Sarah Connor is the icon of badass female characters. Once we get introduced to Sarah Connor in the first Terminator film, she is a damsel in distress. She is scared because she's being hunted down by the T-800, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold is the main villain in the first Terminator, and she's getting protected by Kyle Reese, who is sent from the future to protect her from Arnold. And that first Terminator film was iconic, and Sarah Connor has led into this badass female in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Sarah Connor in Terminator 2 becomes that badass female heroine who helps young John Connor become the leader of the Resistance to take down Skynet once and for all in a future war. And now Terminator 6, which is going to be directed by Tim Miller, the former director of Deadpool, and Linda Hamilton is back as Sarah Connor. I'm super excited and interested about that film. So yeah, Sarah Connor, top 3. My second runner-up, my number 2, is Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff, played by Scarlett Johansson in the MCU. Black Widow would have been my number 1, but there's one person more iconic. Natasha Romanoff's introduction was Iron Man 2, which was the weakest MCU film. Even though her character was gorgeous and kick-ass, her character just wasn't interesting. Until the Avengers, where she became interesting. And along the way, she's played a supporting character. And she is a riveting character and an entertaining character to watch. I love seeing her kick men's ass. I love her relationship with Steve Rogers, Captain America. Like, their relationship is great. They could have worked as a romance. And I do love the now romance with Bruce Banner, the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. Them two work really well. She has a love-hate relationship with Tony Stark too, as you saw with Iron Man 2. And so now Scarlett Johansson's a well-respected member of the Avengers, and she is so gorgeous, and she's one of my personal favorites. She's my number 2. And my number 1 favorite badass female character in movies is Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, in the first 4 Alien movies. Mainly Alien 1 and 2, let's be honest. Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley was so iconic at the time. Alien came out in 1979, and that movie was just total suspense. A great horror film directed by Ridley Scott about this crew of Nostromo astronauts on the spacecraft going to locate a distress signal, and there's this scary xenomorph alien creature on the ship, and it takes out the crew members one by one, and the last one standing is Ellen Ripley. And Sigourney Weaver is amazing in this role. She is totally badass. She knows how to command the screen. In the first Alien film, same as Sarah Connor, she's a little on the more scared approach, but she does survive. And then Aliens is where she becomes the female badass hero. And she is totally awesome in Aliens. Get away from her, you bitch. And she's a mother. Her daughter is Newt, and their relationship is so great. And in Aliens, James Cameron takes the directing chair now, and she becomes that badass female hero who saves the day. And Ellen Ripley is amazing. She is my favorite badass female in film of all time. There you have it, guys. Those were my top 10 favorite badass female characters in movies. What did you guys think of my list, and what are your lists? Let me know down below. Thank you guys, as always, for watching this top 10 list, and if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe today for more content. All my social media links are in the description down below. Click that notification bell on your way out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!